Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to Hidden Roses Return. And today we're with another attack type tier list video. So the last one we did this was nearly a year ago, back in April, when Hokage Naruto was released. And since then, there's been a lot of patches and updates. So we gotta shift around some of these jutsu, as well as season 3 jutsu. So as you can see at the bottom, we still have Shisui's DLC that we gotta put into this list. So this is a different tier list than I used the first time, but I put everything how it was before. And then there's some new categories because of the person who made this. So we got some bad jutsu and we got some absolutely broken double S. So of course we'll be using that because Shisui's here, and of course he's kind of overpowered. So he's gonna set the tone for this tier list because some of these jutsu, they've gotten buffed, but because of how predominant Shisui is in the current competitive meta, a lot of these jutsu, no matter how good they were or are, Shisui just too broken to have these in the same tier as Shisui. So like I said, this is a meta tier list. This is not like a favorite tier list or things like that. This is for the current competitive meta in Shinobi Striker. So keep that in mind, that it's not going to cover barrier battle or missions. It's just for combat based, flag, and survival mode. So that being said, let's hop right into the tier list and adjust some of these things. So the first thing that I want to do is, before we place Shisui's jutsu onto this list, we got to make some adjustments. So let's start from the top and head down to the bottom. So Octopus Hug. Now, you guys already know the story behind Octopus Hug. It's got its restriction damage reduced. So with that being said, it's pretty much non-existent in the current competitive meta as it was before. You can still use it. It's still really good for breaking armor. It's actually the best armor breaking move the attack types have, and it still, you know, blocks subs and all of that. So yeah, it's not a bad jutsu by any means. It's just not involved in as many one shots. So because of its damage output is pretty much gone, we have to lower it down. So it's now a B tier move, so I have it here in B tier. Leaf Rising Wind, still the same as ever. Actually got buffed since then. Used to be 14 seconds, now it's 13 seconds. So still good thing, still OP. Leave it where it is. Swift Step. Now, Swift Step, sorry. This is teleportation jutsu. This is one of the jutsus I was talking about. It has gotten buffed, so now it gives you a movement buff. So your jumping power, your speed after you use this move is ridiculous. And even still, with it being buffed in the time, it actually is still going down to A because Shisui's buffs are just way too good to ignore. So this is definitely just the main jutsu to use in flag. You definitely see it occasionally here and there in survival mode, but base and combat, it's non-existent. So moving down here to A. As far as the Rasen Rampage, it's also got a nerf. So I'm also dropping it down to A because the damage isn't as good as it used to be. It still goes through water pillars, it still goes through shard shield, it's unsubbable, but the damage just isn't as good as it was. But it's still a pretty damn good jutsu if you can land it. So coming down here to the A spot. Now these two ultimates, they're still OP, they're still used in the current competitive meta. Level 3 not as much, but it's still up there. You'll still see it. So I'm gonna leave these two in their spots. So moving on, Wood Dragon, still a good jutsu, still a really good jutsu. I'm keeping it here in A. As well as Rasen Rampage, still a really good jutsu, also in A. So let me shift these around because the better they are, the further left I'm gonna put them. So I would say the best jutsu here is teleportation, followed by Twin Impact. I would say Wood Dragon's better than Rasen Rampage at this current time. As far as the meta goes for Lightning Blade, it used to be just a staple at flag battle and high level matches, but the flag battle definitely changed since then. So even though it hasn't gotten any nerfs or buffs, because of where the meta is, I have to drop it down to B. So yeah, just not used in flag battle as much anymore. Same with Rasengan. Rasengan still does a crazy amount of damage, but like I said, like because of the buffs to Shisui, some of these moves, even though nothing's really happened to them, they're just seen a lot less. So Rasengan good for wall splatting and things like that, but just, you know, not as good as it used to be. So putting it down here. Sharingan, however, has become broken because of the Swift Step substitution. The buffs from Swift Steps are just so godlike, to where you pop Sharingan, you get the buff instantly without even having to use your sub. So Sharingan is our first absolutely broken. There's no counter to Sharingan. It counters everything in the game. Nothing pretty much. Nothing stops it. You just a free substitution, get out of jail free card for everything. So Sharingan absolutely broken. Let's see here. Planetary is still a really good ultimate. You know, you can definitely get team up one shots. The cool time for it and the everything is not as good as these two, but I mean it's still pretty good. So we'll keep in that here. Dynamic entry has seen a glow up since then. It used to be 20 seconds when this list was made, so that's why it was only fairly good, because of course the damage is pretty good, the tracking is good, the buff that you get from it was good, but you just didn't see as much because it was such a long cooltime. 15 seconds now, definitely doable. So it's actually the best taijutsu move in the game. Better than Leaf Rising Wind, which is my most hated jutsu in the game, but still, this one is a lot better. It's OP for sure. A lot of these are going to stay the same, so Leaf Whirlwind's going to stay the same, Lariat's going to stay the same. Of course, now we got Lightning Blade, which is down here. This has gotten buffed, the level 1, but still going to stay there. So everything's going to pretty much stay the same, although I am going to move down Boruto Strike. You don't see it as much. It's a really good ultimate for using in the survival mode, and you know, occasionally if you want to have a quick ultimate that you just want to keep popping off, you can see it in the other game modes, but competitively you're not going to see it. It's more of a okay type thing, so you won't see it here as much. I'll put it actually down before Lightning Chakra mode, so that sounds like a good place. And of course you guys already know this one. You mainly see it in the pit, but other than that you won't really see it outside of that, especially competitively, because you know what it does. It gets formation kills you at the end, so there's so many things around it. So moving on, we have Almighty Push. It's going to stay there. All these are pretty much going to stay here except for 8 Gates Gate of Limits. This is going right behind here because now it has attack tracking buff, and you guys know how just powerful attack tracking is. Like, this move just changed attack types for the better. Like, if you have attack tracking, you can make any of these things work. So no jutsu is a bad jutsu on attack types at this current point, because you can literally lock their subs with your triangle button and then go into any jutsu you want. So nothing's bad on attack types at this current time in the meta. Everything else can be the same except for Tornado High. Tornado High does great damage now, and it actually does a decent amount of healing, and the best part about it is you can't sub it. Like, it's kind of like it's like a lesser version of Rasen Rampage. So I'm gonna place it up here. I would say right before Lariat, actually. Yeah, this sounds like a good place to put it. It's really underrated jutsu. I've now been open. My eyes have been open to Tornado High. So same with Universal Pull. There's just some crazy setups that you can do with it. Obviously it counters the Kamui, so we're gonna place it here in front of Almighty Push because it's just a better version. So there we go. And then of course you got Rasen Shuriken. I also got a buff now. It breaks things, so this definitely is going to be higher up in the list. And then Vanishing Rasengan. I'd say that actually Acrobatic Technique is better than both of these now. And then of course 1,000 Hands. They used to have a ridiculous cool time back when this tier list was made, like to the point where you might not even get it in a match, but they've since reduced it. Now it's actually pretty good. It breaks through a lot of things, Orb included, so there's that. And the only bad jutsu is this one. Your Massive Rasengan is pretty bad. So there you have. There are all the updates for the tier list. So mostly attack types can get away with playing mostly anything. Of course, you got your niche things, but I mean these could easily just be C. I honestly think that because of the way attack types mechanics are with the triangle, you could pretty much run anything and be effective. So again, this is just by how it looks according to the meta. So you can get away with a lot of these things in survival mode, is what I'm saying. You can get a lot away with a lot of these things in survival mode, and probably even base battle, combat battle, or flag battle. You kind of have to run certain things. So now, the moment you guys all been ready for, where does Shisui's jutsu rank? And I'm pretty sure you guys already know. So let's start off with the first, Kodo Matsukami. This thing is absolutely broken, bruh. Like, you can't avoid it. Like, the only way you can avoid it is if somebody else is wearing Kodo Matsukami. That's the only counter to Kodo, is if somebody else has Kodo. That's crazy. So this thing, it like reverses your controls and gives the team infinite subs. And yeah, with the Swift Step buffs that we have nowadays, you see this thing all the time. It's just, it needs to be nerfed somehow. That's just, I'll leave it at that. Halo Dance. Halo Dance is OP. I'd say it's just behind Leaf Rise and Wind. Like, it's really good. Like, the tracking is crazy. You can't block it. It seals your subs. And the knockdown that you get, the hard knock, is crazy. You get like hard knock to be from pretty high up. It's pretty much a pitfall machine. It does have an 18-second cooldown. So, I mean, that's kind of how they balance it. And the range is as long as these two in front of it. But still, it's an OP jutsu. And the best jutsu in the game, like arguably the best jutsu, even better than Hazan Strike. You got this one right here, Oboro Gunuma. Absolutely busted. The buff that it gives to attack types, coupled with the fact that they can now like lock your triangle, lock your sub with their heavy attack, makes this jutsu insane. On top of all that, it like breaks armor and it breaks barriers when it's spinning around you. So yeah, Oboro Gunuma is crazy good. So just take a look at this list one more time. We got Oboro Gunuma at the top, massive Rasengan at the bottom, and everything in between. So yeah, this is the current competitive meta tier list for attack types. The reason why I want to do attack types right now is because I doubt that the final DLC will be attack type. So we can go ahead and knock out the attack type update. We'll see. I still kind of think that the next DLC might be range or defense. I was hoping for a healer or a range, but we'll see how it goes. Once March 25th comes, which is supposedly the date that the last DLC will drop, I'll go ahead and update the range, the defense, and the healer in that order. So until then, I'll catch you guys next time. You guys have a good one. Utari out. Peace.